I come from a balanced family, 4 girls and 4 guys, and I am the fourth. Our parents made sure that we all did chores at home, and as we grew up, they provided similar opportunities for us all. Because of this background, I believe that the subject of gender equality is important for both men and women and must be discussed in all spheres of human endeavor. That is why I would like to see equal gender representation in the naming of public places which are named after people. But first, let me show you why the subject of names is important to me personally. My birth name is Chanda Penda. And somewhere along the way, my parents added Oswald as my Roman Catholic Church baptismal name. So my full name became Oswald Chanda Penda. But at some point during my primary school years, whenever I showed up, my friends started laughing at my last name, saying, Penda, he's counting. Because it sounds like ukupenda, to count in Bemba. However, my surname comes from the Swahili language, meaning beloved. I grew so sick and tired of this constant teasing from my friends as a kid that I started feeling uneasy to write down my full name on my notebooks. So I only wrote Oswald Chanda instead. And in the process, school registers captured this change. And by doing so, I created 2 separate identities for myself, which I still bear today. Chanda Penda at home and among friends, and Oswald Chanda in government records. This experience ignited in me the desire to know the meaning of my first name, Chanda. But neither my parents nor grandparents knew its meaning, despite my repeated questions on the same, to the point of bothering them. At one point, my mother said, ask your grandmother. My grandmother, go back to your mother, just like that. At this early age, therefore, in my 5th grade in 1997, in the Copper Belt province of Zambia, I already developed this passion for names. Many years later, while studying at the University of Zambia, my friends and I founded the Encyclopedia of African Names, lifelong research and serial publication project, which focuses on collecting the names of people from our various local languages, their meanings and cultural significance. We got started with the help of some of our lecturers and other cultural authorities beyond the university. I have been the series editor of this work for more than 10 years now. And I also had the opportunity to work for a brief period in the name planning unit at the Institute of the Estonian Language in Tallinn, Estonia. My time at the Institute exposed me to that government's policy and practice in regulating the names of people and of places, and also to the UN treatment of place names. I would like to draw your attention to the importance of place names. According to the United Nations group of experts on geographical names, 88,000 people died following an earthquake in northern Pakistan in 2005 because aid could not reach them on time. Despite the timely efforts by UN humanitarian officers, they were impeded by the lack of standardized geographical names. So they were unable to locate the affected villages and people in a timely manner. This data that was missing was important for input into the geographical information system to enable rapid response. Perhaps many of these 88,000 lives that were lost could have been saved had there been standardized geographical names. On a positive note, right about the same period, following the tsunami natural disaster, Indonesia was more aptly prepared in terms of standardizing geographical names. Therefore, they were able to locate and save many lives. One of the most important elements in these two examples was the presence or absence of standardized geographical names. In fact, according to the UN, geographical names are key to the fulfillment of all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, as they facilitate the efficient and effective delivery of services and goods. Moreover, if we include gender-balanced place name planning in the expansion plans of our cities around the world, we will be facilitating fulfillment of SDG 5, which focuses on achieving gender equality around the world by the year 2030. Let us now consider our need to promote gender balance in place names. Despite a UN report stating that girls and women make up half of the world's population, less than 10% of all the public places which are named after people in European cities on average bear women's names. Some cities scoring as low as 2%. This grim gendered picture is as vivid in my home country, Zambia, and around the world as it is in Europe. Unfortunately, the lack of representation of female icons in public spaces is rooted in our collective cultural past as the human race. Vinashe Mamvura stated that if a city's streets project a masculinized memory, people get the impression that women did not participate in the war, but only men did. If we promote gender balance in place names, we will be providing equal opportunities for young people of both genders to find inspiration, as their models or heroes will be put right on display wherever they are in their respective cities. However, the renaming of public spaces has been opposed for various reasons. Renaming is an expensive exercise for both authorities and the general public. For authorities, because they have to bear the cost of erecting new street signs. For the general public, because they have to put up with the inconvenience of replacing their IDs and other related personal information to include the new street names. This in turn changes their personal identity. Despite the expensive nature of this exercise, some cities, such as Brussels Copenhagen, Paris, Vienna, and Johannesburg here in Africa are already doing it. They are already renaming public streets to promote commemoration of female icons. The other form of opposition is from some right-wing politicians who label the renaming of public places after women as a liberal leftist concept. As you may know, the liberal leftist political ideology promotes individual freedoms and social equality and is more open to change, while some right-wingers are more conservative and they would just rather maintain the status quo. But our current topic is too important to be polarized as left or right. In Africa, the situation is different. For instance, here in Zambia, half of our streets have no names. The situation is the same in other sub-Saharan African countries, according to the UN. Though it poses many challenges, we must use this status to our advantage that we may potentially achieve gender equality faster and cheaper, because half of our costs are already done away with. That is, costs attached to the exercise of renaming are done away with by the absence of names in the first place. So how can we successfully achieve gender equality in place names? We must take the following 4 simple steps. First, we must establish or maintain place name authorities or committees and make sure that they are gender balanced in their composition. Second, we must formulate and implement standard professional guidelines for place naming. Standardizing this process will ensure continuity regardless of who is in charge at any particular point. Third, we must promote community participation in the name selection process. You'll agree with me that in every community, there are members who have lived in those places for longer than the authorities. Therefore, we cannot do away with this partnership between the authorities and the community if we are to successfully rewrite this important aspect of our local heritages. Fourth, we must set workable timelines in which we will achieve gender balance in place names. Setting specific timelines will ensure our focus, our discipline, and our success. It will also provide us with an opportunity to measure our progress or the lack of it. So how can I be a part of all this, you may ask? As the general public, whether individually or collectively, we are important stakeholders in deciding whom we wish to commemorate in our public spaces and how they should be remembered. For instance, here in Zambia in 2011, we were captivated by the naming of a new stadium after our national soccer team, the Chipolopolo, who died in a plane crash in 1993 off the coast of Gabon. The suggested name by the authorities was the Gabon Disaster Victims National Heroes Stadium. I wonder what names were rejected to pave way for this one. However, it provoked public outcry in which the general public suggested the name National Heroes Stadium instead. The suggested name by the public was eventually gazetted. This shows the importance of our participation in this process. We must feel free to walk over to the offices of our authorities and suggest the names that we wish to see in our public places. I challenge you to walk around wherever you live. See if you do not agree with me about the state of gender exclusion in place names. No society was ever built by only one gender. Therefore, place names must reflect this reality.